I just have Tube Screamer and Joey Bird. So what I want to do is, I would love for you to go to a DI first, just so we have a dry signal in case you want to reamp or something like that.
Let's do it.
So don't you plug things up here. Yeah. That way we can be bold with any tones we get, and knowing that if we fuck up, we have a safety.
The all-new Camino 84 is a tongue-in-cheek title. I hope people get that. I mean, on the one hand, I've been so close to this thing for so long that I forget how drastic of a change it is from my previous work, like how different the scope and ambitions are. But on the other hand, I'm certainly not an all-new person. I'm not trying to claim I've arrived or anything. I still have plenty of shortcomings. I still have a lot of growing to do. I'm still not satisfied with where I'm at. But I guess if you wanted to be totally earnest, you could call this the pretty new Camino 84, at least. The record and the concept that drove the record both have a very clear origin point in my mind. And I think it all starts with what I thought were the shortcomings or failings of my last album.
Hello, r/Future Funk. This is Camino 84, here to answer all your questions about music on the internet. Be sure to check out my new album, New Mutant Disco. It came out on Tuesday, camino84.bandcamp.com.
New Mutant Disco was based on the hypothesis that if you make disco music that's too perfect and polished, it loses its energy and vitality. Like, I was hearing all this disco and funk music, modern disco and funk music, that was made by fantastic musicians and great producers, and the songwriting was there, but there was just something about the sheen and polish at every stage that didn't make it feel as alive as the old stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I refuse to believe that it's just like quantization or anything. So yeah, I took that hypothesis to an extreme. And in doing so, the album became a love letter to the post-punk disco scene in New York City in the late 70s, early 80s. I wanted it to have mistakes and be transparent and rough and edgy. And for what it's worth, I still kind of stand by that hypothesis. I think there's validity to it in a certain way. I don't regret the album at all, and I'm thankful. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that love that album and still go back and listen to it or discovered me through that album. And I'm very thankful for all of you, and I'm not like saying that you have poor taste by any means. But there's definitely moments that I wish I could go back and get a true do-over at. There's like a couple parts of that album that make me cringe now. And the record came out and no publicist or press outlet wanted to touch it. I mean, I spent a lot of money trying to get the record out there. And, I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought like, oh man, if I just really pour money into this thing, I'll make it finally. And then by any economic measure you want to choose, it totally flopped. I mean, it took me well over a year and literally giving some of the tapes away to move through the measly 100 copies we had ordered.
Starting today, I'm paying for 50 copies of the New Mutant Disco tape, and I'm giving them away to my fans as a way to say thank you. So I've got these stacks here. Let me see if I can show you. Like I said, I've got 50 copies to give away, and if you haven't seen them before, they are these lovely, not puke green, I call them, cassette tapes.
But the really good thing that came out of doing New Mutant Disco was the push to do live band shows. And I think it actually started when I wanted to book Darwin Dees in Boston for a show, and I sent him some of the stuff, and he was like, so how does this work? Like, do you have a band that you perform it with? And I immediately just answered like, oh yeah, totally, I have a band, like, without the idea having ever occurred to me before. And as rough as my voice could be live sometimes, or uncontrolled, there was something kind of magical to the live band shows. Like, the tracks sounded so much fuller in that environment. And I think everybody started to realize that there was something there. And then we got asked to play the Boston Music Awards at the House of Blues here in Boston, and that's the one performance where everything really clicked for me.
Where are we?
House of Blues!
Woo!
Clearly my pocket is too unreliable.
Those did message me earlier today.
Backstage. We did it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt.
Everybody to close their eyes,
Okay.
visualize the perfect set ever,
Ooh.
and then reach to the sky with both arms, stretch out like a V, and then grab the set with your fists.
This one's called Denver, and it features Latrell James.
I woke up the morning after this show and I had a very sudden and real clarity that the whole full band type setup had to be the next album I made. I had to write songs, I had to sing on all of them, and I had to make a band record. And now we're here.
Just slamming it? Yeah, just slamming it.
Well, almost. I had to figure a few more things out first.